Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance, a purpose before profit group that love giving back and sharing. If you need anything, just reach out. Scrolling across the bottom is a new company we launched about 4 months ago, Blockchain Insurance. It's traditional insurance, non-traditional industries. And of course, you'll see Founders Coffee scrolling down there. Again, it's a safe place for entrepreneurs to come meet like-minded individuals, hang out, talk, share your stories, share your war stories, share your problems, share your winnings, share your knowledge, and just hang out with other people that are like-minded. But I don't want to waste anything talking about what I'm doing here, because this, in my mind, is probably going to be the most important discussion of the year. I have Jen Lussier with me, the CEO of Platform. Jen, how are you?
Hi, Jade. How are you? Thanks so much for having me on today. Great to see
Well,
you
I just
here.
want to get it out of the way that I'm happy that you asked me back to play baseball in the slow pitch tournament with my daughter, and then you'd never
Yes,
cut us. So I'm very happy about that.
yes. You and Grayson have been a mainstay on our success on the platform team there for the last. It's in its like fifth year running now. So
And that's incredible. And I know, I mean, we're off to OKC for a big tournament down there and we get to watch some of the Division One NCAA Division One women's final tournament. So we're excited about that. But I can always catch the fall one. I'm always around in the fall. Just spring is tough, so I will be there in the fall. But a funny thing is, somebody reached out to me the other day and asked if we were going to host the pickleball thing again. And I know Andrew, and we did
yeah,
that with Thin Air Labs, and I think we raised about $4,000 for colitis with Ted there. And yeah, maybe it's something we can put that together again.
I forgot about that. We have almost every ball. We've got the wild, we've got the surge, we've got pickleball, we've got softball, and then golf. Are all kind of nice tag
Everything.
teams.
We
Yeah.
just one more. We need one more ball.
Football? No. Basketball? No, yeah, we got basketball.
We got
Anyways,
basketball. Yeah, right, right.
football.
Football. Yeah, well, we'll figure something. We'll just get Ian McDonald involved. He knows to run. He can just get everybody out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You know what? I want to. I'm excited. Obviously, when Terry stepped on and moved over to Innovate, Alberta Innovates, and kudos to him. And he's going to be doing great things there. And without his guidance and leadership, there would be no Platform Calgary and what
Mhm.
it is today. And the work that you've done, we talked a little bit before beside him and understanding, and you were there through the trenches and getting it and moving it up and going. And I am so happy that they removed the interim tag off you. I think you're going to be you have been an outstanding ambassador for Platform and our startups for so long. So I would like people to get to know you a little bit. They know you from Platform. They know about all the great work you've done there. But what about that entrepreneurial journey or the pre-platform, Jen? Why don't you share a little bit of background about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, thank you. It means so much to have support from the community and people like leaders in the community like you. So thank you so much. It feels great. Yeah. So I can back up depending on how much time you want me to take on this.
We got all the time in the world.
So yeah, I started my career. I thought I was going to be an architect actually. So I came out of my undergrad and I went into architecture school at U of C in the master's program. Did that for a year, quit because I decided it was too. I liked the design piece, but 3 dimensions was just way too challenging for me. So I dropped down into 2 dimensions. And my dad bought me a computer and some software, and I started a graphic design business. And so this was in like the early 90s. I was like in my 20s, going around slugging a portfolio and selling creative services to oil and gas and corporate Calgary. And so that's kind of how I started as an entrepreneur. And then did that for about 10 years, got to the end of that, and I had hired all women, and we decided, or 3 of us were pregnant and do at the same time. And so I'm like, okay, this is enough. So kind of shut down the business. Then I went and did the same thing, kind of client side in financial services, investment banking, for another about 8 years. So my roots in entrepreneurship are like marketing, brand, comms and design. And then in 2015, I had the opportunity to get into tech as a co-founder of a tech startup in the construction space. And so I came into that with 2 other co-founders, and I was the CMO, and we did our best to make that work for 4 years. Um, raised a couple $1 million and just pivoted like I don't know how many times and couldn't get it to work. And then, and I can talk more about that, but that's when that went under. There was a program at the time through Calgary Technologies. So this was like pre-platform, where Kevin Franco, who was you could get time with an advisor, and you could, so yeah, I would go in and meet with him, and he'd talk me off the ledge, and we would, try to strategize and work on things, and then I'd go back and try to make the startup work. And so when AnyCrypt went under, he said, well, hey, why don't you come and join Platform as an advisor and, work with early stage entrepreneurs. And so that was how I actually got to Platform. So it was kind of, a career of, I wouldn't say necessarily planned, but one thing definitely led to another. If I hadn't failed in these ways, I wouldn't be where I am now. So.
No, absolutely. And Kevin Franco, wow, there's a name from the past. I wonder if he's still making shoes.
Yeah, you know what? He's actually he's considering spinning it up again. Yeah, he's in Calgary right now for a bit. So yeah, you should. He was at Platform just yesterday, actually. Yeah.
I know, as a guy who loves shoes, I never did buy a pair of his, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite the interesting journey, and thank you for sharing that, because maybe people, I don't know how often you talk about that side of your life, kind of pre-platform, but I think it gives a very good perspective on that. You actually have walked the walk with these entrepreneurs. You understand what they've done. You understand the struggles, and you said that I had to meet with an advisor, I had to do this, and these programs and things that are there now weren't there before, but at least we still had a community that was able to help us and able to, to be there to ask those hard questions.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm so passionate about the work that we do now, because it's bloody hard. And I think, and back then, I think the way that I got into tech, found out about the rainforest actually was through Elena, with Credivera. And so this was just by chance. I met her, and I went to a rainforest meeting where Brad and Jim were actually standing up in assembly and talking. And I fell into the tech community by chance. And that was in like 2015, right? And so it's great to see how much easier, hopefully, it is to be that front door where, okay, all, first steps, just go to Platform and you'll find out what your next step, the resource you need for your next step. But yeah, I think that's why I love my job so much, is because I've kind of been there, done that. And like, as a former entrepreneur, and now the champion of others, it's, I don't know, I can do it all day long. Well, I do it all day long.
Yes, you do.
Most nights too, but yeah.
And I mean, and my philosophy is very similar. I remember meeting Peter LaFontaine a long time ago, and I was working with a lot of brick and mortar after we sold our first company, and it was like, okay, well. And I really understood the power of a penny, being in that and trying to grow, and, to be quite honest, like in Toronto, sleeping in my car and going to 7-Eleven to freshen up before the day's calls, because we couldn't afford a hotel room, but we had to get to Toronto, right? Yeah. Like, there's lots of things you have to sacrifice. And when I saw some of these people, and that's kind of where my passion came from, to saying, oh my God, like, no, you don't need a social media influencer. No, you don't need a marketer. No, you don't need an agency. You don't need, be careful on how you spend your money, because it's hard to come and it's hard to raise. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I started giving back. And then I really fell in love with that tech industry, and I still am. And even at that point, I really started learning about that, the investing side. And me and my buddies back from Sask started doing it. And it was like, okay, like there's something here. And even to this day, I think my knowledge is way more valuable than my money. But having that community, and I say this probably every episode, nothing in the world is like Alberta when it comes to community.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. It's critical, I think. And we really try to nurture that and grow that community at Platform, right? Like, we want to make sure that when you're coming through the doors, you're getting something of value, that then you're either, it's either time, reputation, or money, or whatever it is that you need. To help you take your next step. But it's all about the community. I think entrepreneurship is hard, and who wants to do it alone? Like, let's just at least find someone to commiserate with.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's what makes platform so great. So I want to dive into platform a little bit. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking with Jen Lussier, the CEO of Platform. If you want any more information, click on the website in the comment section. It'll take you directly there. So now that this platform's done a lot. They've created a lot of great program, whether it be the catalyzer, velocity. Maybe there'll be some changes. We'll talk about that. But why don't you share some of the great things that platform is doing right now, and how they can help some of these startups, and maybe even going back a little further, how do they get involved?
Sure, yeah. Well, literally, to get involved, you can just come through the door. We are open to the public, and we work really hard to create events and entry points for people that are taking their first or their next step into tech. And so there's things like bi-weekly Tech Talent Tuesday, which is literally anybody can come and hear what's on the stage. Sometimes it's somebody demoing the agentic workflow they're building for their sales process, or another time it's a company that's hiring, or so it's kind of a flowing and evolving set of topics there. But we have other entry points such as launch party and innovation week, which happens every year in November, or we have things like tech softball, or like there's all kinds of ways to just we try to make it as easy as possible to come in. So but essentially our role is to connect and grow the tech sector here in Calgary, and we do that through our innovation center, 50,000 square feet. We have a tech company membership, which is if you are building building tech to sell, you're welcome to join us. It's a very inexpensive, basically free way to connect in with other builders and innovators. And so we have 950 ish companies in that, and those companies can access additional supports, things like software, like perks and things like that, discounts on space, etc. But most importantly, it's around connecting them into the resources that they need and the community they want to be beside. So that's around peer groups. If you're across the board in any function, or even sector-based, if you want to get in a room with people that are building like you or in the same role as you, we've got peer groups, we've got investor coaching, and opportunities to put you as an investment-ready startup in front of risk capital through our pitch breakfast series. We have investment readiness training, like all kinds of things, right? So it's a holistic approach to entrepreneurship where we've got educational programming that can help you, figure out, is this a problem worth solving? Will somebody buy it? How do I build an MVP? How would I access and talk to a customer? How would I hire, and how would I raise money? So all those things around an entrepreneur. And so historically, we've had lots of programs, cohorted-based programs that help entrepreneurs get that early kind of level setting education.
No, and again, I mean, I am a huge fan, and as I say, every time I get asked, I'm there. It's 100% yes. I mean, I guess unless I'm out of town, but like what has been created there has helped so many entrepreneurs in our ecosystem. So many incredible people have come through there, and obviously, almost all the companies in our ecosystem have participated in a platform program some way or the other.
Yeah, and it's incredible, the growth. I mean, we opened our doors once or twice there during COVID, but I think we were serving about 300 entrepreneurs through programming in 2019-ish, 2020. And like last year, I think it was like 1,700. So, and that's organic growth. Like we're not buying these customers; like they're just coming through the door, right? And then and we see that actually exponentially increasing. Thanks to what we can do now with AI. You can build your MVP in a weekend versus needing to find, in the past, you need to find a technical co-founder or try to, code something. And so what we're seeing now is, and I mean, I think it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur with the tools that you have now accessible. It's been democratized. Anybody can spin up an app and test it, or redesign a workflow and try it out, right? So it's an exciting time to see how much it will continue to grow. as far as people starting companies?
It's and as you said before, being around other people, like you could just be sitting in one of the areas there, and literally somebody two 2 feet away could have been going through that problem 1 year ago.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah, exactly.
the access to information that's in that building, not just from the advisors and yourself and the leadership team, I think it's priceless.
And then it's way more about the people in the building than that. We're just the literally the lowercase p platform. um, I'm working on how do we display and get a feedback loop of everybody that's in the building there on any one given day. And so if we have, startups that are working, their logos popping up and showing, and then if we have investors in the building, their logos popping up, and if we have, subject matter experts, we've got office hours happening, and so that's the goal, is to get it where it's essentially a marketplace, and the more feedback loops we have that we can share, the more we can help those. We can kind of engineer those collisions a little bit and make them better. Like the best day to come to platform is a Wednesday, as this is anecdotal, but like Wednesday's typically the busiest day there. Every boardroom is booked. There's something happened on the stage. Startups in the multipurpose space, it's packed, and I'm trying to figure out like a vibrancy index. And so how do we measure that and capture that? So we know when we've got this many people parking, this many coffees, this many members in the building, this many events on the stage or whatever's happening, and then get this index, and then help our teams to incent people to come on slower days, or create events and activities for our members that are on those slower days, to make sure that like every day that you come to platform we're hitting a 8.7 on the vibrancy index.
Well, that's a good number to hit.
That up.
I know.
It goes to 11. It goes to 11, Jade.
Oh man, I thought it was a 10. Actually, I thought it was 9. But it's the great things that happen there are absolutely priceless. And even like I have some more questions, but every time somebody puts something in LinkedIn, I want to put it up there. So I'm going to ask Francis questions here, and say, and he is asking, within the platform ecosystem, is there a way for members to sell pilot? We've been talking about this. You
Yes.
could be sitting 2 feet from one. The collaboration, I think, in my opinion, and I've seen it happen. I'll walk in there and somebody will just say, "Hey, Jade, oh, you got a second?" Right? Like,
Yes, absolutely. And I think we're still working on ways. Thank you, Francis, for that question. We're still working on ways to make that easier. We have a Slack channel for member companies, and within that channel, we've kind of got member to member, offers or whatever. But it's Slack. You hate it and love it at the same time, right? As far as things can get buried, and so we are working on ways to make that more easier for members to connect with each other, and doing it almost through other things, such as we've got a bi-weekly coffee and croissants where members can come together, and maybe we build some structure into that. That's like around, hey, who's got something to sell, who's buying, or if you want a demo, or it's all about just getting the builders together, and we get out of the way, right? And so And it's a great question, and I would love to be able to demonstrate that as we go forward here.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I truly, if you haven't been there, come on down, check it out. It's open every day. Again, Jens, you walk through the door, someone will greet you, and they can take you for a tour, and it's very, very simple to get involved into the ecosystem. And this is kind of was going to dive into our next question, but somebody I just met here, and I think she's going to be a very important part of our ecosystem. Tammy, thanks for this question. And I truly believe that we are uniquely positioned. So what kind of companies do you think Alberta is positioned to build versus trying to copy other ecosystems?
Yeah, I love that question, Tammy. So I think, first of all, we definitely aren't trying to be, a Silicon Valley. Yes, we measure ourselves against every kind of global innovation center startup genome. We definitely track and understand where we are in what phase of the ecosystem at a macro level. But I think that where we're uniquely positioned is based on, first and foremost, on the talent pool that's already here. So highly technical talent pool of, a lot of roots in oil and gas for sure. But that actually, and agriculture. So those two industries that have been innovating for obviously decades already. It's not like we're, saying, oh, we're going to start innovating in these fields. That's kind of, the the basis of why Alberta has been so entrepreneurial and leading edge on a lot of that stuff. So that's a long answer, but definitely in our core, the core economic drivers are province. Anything that's like clean tech, alternative, like the whole thing there is, around energy and clean tech is one, and ag tech as well. There's massive opportunities there because platform. We're there for every type of tech, but we also see bubbles up in a lot of fintech, prop tech, insure tech, and other areas. There's other like life sciences, health, and things like that. Like we definitely partner with universities that have way more infrastructure, I'd say, for things like labs and stuff like that. We don't have anything like that at platform, but yeah, that was kind of a long rambling answer there, Tammy. But
there's no rambling there. No rambling. It's all.
Just interrupt me when I'm rambling.
No ramble. I always say less of me and more from you makes for a better conversation. So. And just to add on to that, you've seen some of these industries like the clean tech and ag tech really come up, and the funds come to support it, like what Chris and Wilson are doing, mm-hmm. and again Chris with Ag Sphere and Lindsay being over there to lead it, and we're also collaborative. And I just want to add that I don't want to be like the Valley. I don't want to be like Boston or New York or Austin. We're us, and I think what makes us successful is the people here. And you know what? Maybe the checks are cut a little slower. Maybe, things don't move as fast. But you know what? We're successful. There's a lot of successful companies that have come out of here. And that's going back hundreds of years, from ranchers to oilmen to every single thing that has built us up to here. And those people that started oil companies back in the day are now investing in tech companies and sharing their knowledge. And, the Derek Hunters of the world, are here to help. And that is what makes us so unique.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that too, like we're an integral part of the Calgary Innovation Strategy, which is CED's kind of infrastructure. We're innovation infrastructure. We're physical. And then CED has this fantastic strategy that goes connecting all of the different sectors. So we've got transportation and logistics, we've got aerospace, we've got quantum, we've got energy, of course, we've got creative services, sports, etc. So there's all of these sector-based hubs that are intended to drive the concentration of those corporates, investors, startups, subject matter experts that are working within that vertical. And that is going to be the way that we can really help with targeted support within any one of those sectors that Tammy's asking about, right? So it's critical. It's a we're obviously we work to make the connections, and we're the critical referral engine between all of those different sectors. So anyone that's walking through the door or coming through platform, we're able to refer them out to any of those sectors.
Yeah, and again, we collaborate like no other ecosystem in the world.
We do, actually. So,
right, and I've spoken around North America, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, you actually have an investment fund? You have government? What are grants?" Sometimes I get it's top down and bottom up, and again, from the government to supporting it to people who have exited companies that will give you time to have a cup of coffee, and everything in between, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want to talk about moving forward, though, right? Now that you're here and platform's been around and done so many great things, what type of changes are you going to make, or do you have plans or new programs, over the next, maybe year or 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So we've I think the past 5 years have been obviously opening the building and getting to a critical mass of, and of people and momentum in regards to that. We're, making headlines kind of nationally or at some point internationally around like fastest tech talent hub, the record number of investments that have happened. And so Calgary's kind of now in this place, right, where we're getting on the radar of other being compared to other ecosystems. And so the changes that are coming now are really around the AI and the tsunami of it, is pervasive, how it's shifting how we build companies, how we run companies, how we hire, and how we raise. And so looking at our programming, where it's been, we've had a lot of kind of longer term, like an incubator program that an entrepreneur could potentially stay in for a year, 9 months to a year, to get advisory and things like that. We have a programming running right now, which is our pre-accelerator, which is a 9-week program. And what we've done, and you'll probably see some of them on our website already, is we'll still have these cohorted programs, but also deconstructing them. And if I'm an entrepreneur and I only want one of the 7 modules that this pre-accelerator is offering, I can take it at the time that I need it, when it matches the speed of the business that it, right? And so we want to be way more flexible as far as what entrepreneurs need, exactly when they need it, in smaller, shorter, bite-sized kind of content that can still be done in a social learning in a cohorted session where you want to be in a room with other builders, but less commitment than, I need to go through this, entire program. So structurally that's changing. And then integrating AI as far as how it is now this massive tool set that can, build, like I said earlier, build your MVP in like 20 minutes or a weekend, depending on what it is, help you with, like from soup to nuts on how you build. And also equally importantly, entrepreneurs that are facing a loss of relevance due to agentic or the next phase of AI, where they need to now reevaluate what's their moat, what's their competitive differentiator, because AI might have potentially just wiped it out. And so things that help entrepreneurs, programs and or events and or workshops that will help entrepreneurs deal with this. Like it's pretty overwhelming. Less theory, more practice is also part of that shift. So lots of stuff kind of on the table there. If we don't have programs that are relevant to entrepreneurs today and for the next 5 years, then we won't be relevant. And so it's going to shift for sure. And it become, we've got a lot going on there under the tent. There's ways we activate the building and strategies around what kinds of events we have. There's ways that we bring the community together. And then there's the programs themselves. And so all of that kind of comes together in a bit of a formula, which we're still working on, obviously. But those are some of the things that we're looking at.
I love it. And again, I'm talking with Jen Lussier, the CEO of Platform Calgary. Click on the link in the website. It'll take you directly there. And I love that. I think that is such a fantastic answer. And the fact that you can take those modules, and I need, section 2 or 3 today, and then, maybe I don't need 1 and 2 or whatever it is, that to adapt to the companies that are in there, to what they need right now and what's going to help me right now and what's best for my business right now.
Yeah. And then the final piece of that is connection into industry. So, I was in a startup there for 2015, 2019. It was impossible to find customers in your own backyard. Impossible, like so hard. And not to say that, yes, there was probably, well, we know now there were obviously flaws with the product, but that is another piece. That's kind of a piece where if we can't help a startup find a potential pathway to a customer, an industry they're trying to sell into, then we're not doing our job either, right? And so lots to come there on how do we become relevant for Suncor? How do we become relevant for like every major industry that's whether it's construction or ag or pharma or whatever, like whatever the case may be. So lots of work happening now on that, and we've got a program that does have some provincial funding for it called Scale Alberta that's coming out that will be directly focused with that. And so it's more bespoke. Again, it's like, okay, Jade, you've got your insurance company ready to go, and how can we help you get into the around the table with the biggest drivers of your buyers, within the next 6 months. So that's another piece that's as equally and I would say, as equally as important as the programming side of things.
Oh, I could not agree more. And I think I can't remember what conference we're at, and Jim Gibson was like, Jade, you're going to love this one. We're going to focus on getting more industry involved in our startups, because there's nothing more important in my mind than, being able to help them, being able to give them a pilot opportunity if it fits into their ecosystem. And again, it doesn't matter if it's aerospace, oil and gas, construction, as you say, there is something there. Those introductions need to help, and they do help. They do come. I don't want to say they don't, but I think there needs to be, more of that, and more of that locally.
Yeah. And I think, again, the CED's Calgary Innovation Strategy will be an integral part of that as well, right? We've got, Lufthansa, we've got de Havilland, we've got WestJet, all of the aerospace. And so startups kind of going through there will have a direct, like they're able to knock on the door and actually get an answer. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just, again, it's always something that that I miss, that I think we need more of, right? Yeah. Oh, like the sad thing about Wednesdays is that these conversations come to end, and it's my favorite day of the week. I love talking to incredible people like you over, I've done 400 plus of these now, and I enjoy every single moment of them. But I always end. I figured this question would be over, 10 episodes in, I would have heard every answer by now, but here I am still asking the question. I'm just going to put a little twist on it for you. So if you had one piece of advice for a startup or entrepreneur on how best to utilize platform, what would that be?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I had another answer planned.
I know you probably did. That's why. Live.
The best way. Okay, so the best way to utilize platform is to, first of all, come through the door, raise your hand, keep raising your hand, keep asking, keep pushing us to do better with the things that need work on, which are the app. But like, I think show up. I think part of it is just like showing up and participating, because one conversation leads to another, and that's just how it works there. But I think, I think that's the best way to get involved. I know that sounds kind of general, but coming in, sharing what you're doing. So I want to have when the pitch stage there's nothing going on, I want to have like demos, like founders just showing their stuff, and whoever comes in and sits down and can ask questions, like it's an open network. And, we're not the gatekeepers of any of this stuff. We are just there to let you show your magic and ask for help, and then give back. Right. And so that's kind of, it's just that. Yeah. Does that answer it? I think so.
That 100%. I think that hits it bang on. Right. And even to expand on that, when, an idea is a starting point, and you might have a great idea, and you come to platform and you talk to somebody, and it turns into that's a great idea to add on to that, and another add on, then another, and maybe that idea by the time you walk out of platform could be an actual potential business opportunity.
Yeah. Have you thought of this? Oh, can I help? Oh, let me introduce you to this. Like, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the power of platform, and, and then the support, obviously, that comes with that, and all the great people and staff that you have there. And I'm sure we'll be adding as platform continues to evolve and grow.
Yes. Now,
so Jen, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do in our ecosystem. Thank you for being there. Thank you for keeping us involved. Thank you for keeping, and not only on the business side, but also on the fun side, because as we talked about, it's stressful. It's tough. It's not easy. There's crying. I've cried on this show with people. Like it's not fun, and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And putting people together, and playing on that platform team, and a couple of guys come out there like I've never even picked up a bat or a ball or a glove. How do you do this? And it's like, oh, okay, now I've got a handful of new friends that I've never met before, and the power of networking that platform does is priceless.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity, Jade. And like I think you're one of those people that's like the glue and the connector in the ecosystem. Like Calgary is big, but it's also still very small. And I think like we have the ability to make that network just bigger and stronger, right? And so it's exciting. It's fun. It's such a fun industry to work in, a fun sector to work in. I will never leave tech.
No, I hope I never leave either.
Yeah.
But one day I will leave, and then, as I said, my next goal in life is to. I am so unhandy. I can't fix anything. I've got my daughter's boyfriend who's like 18 years old. I have to call him to fix a sink. Like I got no skills. And one day I'm just going to be at Home Depot, and I'm just going to be. I got to learn. I want to learn how to fix things. I want to learn, and I've already got my plan all set up, ready to go. And then that's next stage.
Okay. Laying tile and things like that.
I can't do anything. I'm so unhandy. But Jen, again, thank you so much. If anybody has any information, you can reach out to her. You can walk through the door or click on the link in the website. And again, this is I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. You're I'm one of your biggest fans out there, and thank you for everything. And I hope everybody has a fantastic Wednesday, enjoys the rest of your day. I'm off next week, and I'll be back with Mike Adderall talking about one of the great hubs, the aerospace engineering hub or the aerospace hub, and showcasing what they're going to be doing here. So, it goes hand in hand of all the people, all the great people around sharing and helping. So, Jen, you're the leader of this, and we appreciate it. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Jade. I love talking to you. So thanks again.
All right, everybody.